Nazi war criminals needed help to escape Europe. They got it here in Rome, beginning with two highly unlikely sources, the intelligence services of Britain and the United States.
They saved tens of thousands of Nazis in order to use them against the Soviets.
Peter Tompkins should know. He was a wartime spy working undercover in Rome for the American OSS, predecessor of the CIA.
Are you telling me that the OSS helped Nazis escape justice at the end of the war?
Oh, absolutely. They created a clandestine army of ex-Nazis, using people like Klaus Barbie, for instance, who said, oh, that's a good Nazi, that's a good Nazi, I know him, I know him, I know him.
But if it sounds incredible that the U.S. would use Klaus Barbie, later convicted in France as the Butcher of Lyon, because he and his fellow Nazis were thought to possess experience that could help against the Soviets, consider who else played a major role in the Nazis' escape route. None other than the Vatican.
The Vatican then had an entire system of monasteries and convents. We called it the rat line. That was the American code word for the operation.
The rat line.
The rat line.
John Loftus is a former Nazi hunter for the U.S. Justice Department, who spent years investigating this elaborate escape route known as the rat line. He says Pope Pius XII was pro-German because he saw the Nazis as a bulwark against the communists, whose ideology the Pope viewed as a mortal threat to the Church. So beginning in 1945, the Pope allowed one of his bishops to produce phony ID for fugitive Nazis. Bishop Alois Hudal, with the blessing of some British and U.S. government officials, set up shop in this nondescript rectory just outside the Vatican.
My estimate is we sent some 60,000 fugitive Nazi war criminals to Argentina after World War II, during a 5-year period.
But from his vantage point overlooking St. Peter's Basilica, the historian who studied that period for the Vatican, Father Robert Graham, says it was simple refugees being helped, not Nazis. Though
one or two may have slipped through, of course.
One or two?
Yes. There was no.
Father, there were thousands.
Oh, please. No, don't kid me. Don't be ridiculous. Thousands. That's absurd.
to the extent that Bishop Hudal was helping fugitive Nazis, Father Graham insists the bishop was operating totally on his own.
He didn't speak for the Vatican.
He was a counselor in the Holy Office.
Oh, please. That doesn't mean anything from the point of what we're talking about here.
He was a friend of the Pope's.
Please. Are you all so simple and unsophisticated as to believe that's that? Please, be more intelligent than that. Give the Pope some credit.
Did Pope Pius know what was going on?
Oh, of course. But Pius, you must remember, Pius XII was scared to death of communists.
Whatever Pius's role, it is, however, indisputable that the fugitive Nazi hordes came down these narrow streets looking for Bishop Hudal and his assistant, a mysterious former Nazi army lieutenant named Reinhard Kops.
Reinhard Kops' job was to come up with identity documents. He needed 3 pieces of paper to get a Nazi war criminal smuggled out of Italy. One was a Red Cross passport, and the Vatican took care of that. The second was the Argentine visa, and Perón took care of that. And the third was an identity paper. Kops handed those out to the fugitive Nazis, so if they were arrested in Rome, they could say, well, I'm living at this monastery.
I had no question in my mind that he had participated in the rat line, getting other Nazis out of Europe.
Rick Eaton of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, which works hard to hunt down Nazi war criminals, had a tip that Kops went down the rat line himself to Argentina. Posing as a neo-Nazi, Eaton found a man who called himself Juan Mahler, a writer of pro-Nazi books, with a story that sounded like Kops.
He said he had an office in the Vatican, and it was his job to get people papers.
Could Juan Mahler be Reinhard Kops in hiding? We went to the Argentine Andes, to a town named Bariloche, where we found the man who helped run the rat line, a 79-year-old ex-Nazi named, well, named what?